Pretty Babes Talk.
Peace and blessings, queens!
Welcome to the Pretty Babes Talk.
On today's episode, we're continuing our discussion on trauma.
And we're joined by two amazing queens.
Ruth. To kickstart today's episode, we'd like to make a toast to you, pretty babes, and we, pretty babes. Too. Cheers!
Cheers.
So what does trauma mean to you and why do you think it's important to talk about it?
Okay, trauma is, first I'll say why it's really important. Trauma is really important for us to talk about because I feel like in this generation where we are right now, it's really, really misinterpreted. Like a lot of people just say something, oh, if I slap you, I'll be like, oh, you've traumatized me. And if I kick you, you've traumatized me. So like the word is already so diluted, like it doesn't have any meaning anymore. And it's really deeper than it actually seems, than what people make it to be. Trauma is actually like a deep wound. It's like an emotional wound. I could even call it a spiritual wound because it affects your spiritual life too. It affects how you are, how you exist in this life. Trauma is like the cause to an effect to me. I like to think in a very, very calculative way. It's like the cause to an effect. It's like a wound that causes you to react a certain way. It's like sometimes it's not even just one wound. It's like a collection of like events and like negative emotional incidences that just cause you to act a certain way, and that certain way is usually negative, a very, very negative way. So yeah.
Interested. Kim, do you have something to add to that?
I think that trauma in itself is anything that can cause you distress. And it varies because it's like it doesn't have to be just now. It could be something that's also ongoing. It could be something that happened in the past. Because like most times when people talk about trauma, they tend to think about it in the past.
Yes.
Right.
Actually.
Yeah, because but trauma is like sometimes it could be ongoing. It could be something that you're even still experiencing. So basically, how I think about trauma is that like anything that causes you distress, causes you like basically just agonize you in any way or form. And I do understand like where she was coming from, where it's like people have used therapy speech to like ruin a lot of the things that people like actual deep things that people are experiencing. So yeah, why it's important for us to talk about it is that you can't heal from what you don't,
You're not aware of.
Yeah, so it's like it's just so important for us to like. Some people can afford to go to therapy, others do it in community. But either way, it's been talked about.
That's sad though. Also, as Nigerians, I think we just, I don't even know. I think we just accept the rubbish that's going on and just like take it in and just swallow it and just keep smiling and keep hurting ourselves and not actually take our time to realize that this actually hurt us. This is not good for us and heal from it. Like. We need to work on that. Like,
That's the problem. I find that like a lot of Nigerians.
Because some people, like I have a friend.
Suppressing.
So I have a friend. She told me that she randomly had this traumatic experience in secondary school. Her teacher flogged her or something, messed like beat her up, like bleeding, beat her up, and she was like, "But that's fine." I was like,
That's not fine.
What?
It's also because of the stigma that comes with, in today's society, it's like, calm down, it's not that deep. So that's why now it's like, it's okay. It's fine, because of what people might say, like calm down. Even mental health is like, I better calm down. Like it's so most people don't want to talk about it because no one wants to hear, I beg, it's not that deep. Exactly, no one wants that. So it's okay to talk about these things. It's definitely okay. We need to learn.
And the thing is that trauma reactions, it comes from like your subconscious because you're definitely not conscious of your reaction.
Exactly.
And one thing that I've learned from my training is that we have this occipital lobe at the back of our brain that it actually like records memories of every single thing your eyes has ever seen. Imagine things you've forgotten about. Like it's actually there and it is written in your subconscious. So everything you do, like fun fact, go and check it anywhere. It is true. Like everything you do is like, it's like motivated by your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind is operating from everything your mind has recorded.
Yeah.
So it is deep.
It's
It's not
deep.
just...
And that's why, like, people, I talk with, like, suppressing your emotions or suppressing your experiences or the things that you've gone through is more harmful than good.
Yeah.
Even though suppressing it feels like your body's way of, like, handling it in that
Yeah.
But in, like she said, it's stored somewhere.
It's there.
So, and one day it's going to just hit you.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because, like, for me, how trauma does manifest for me is my brain actively forgets. Like, I actually forget things. Yeah, and it's your body's way of, like,
Protecting, yes, that's
right.
what
But
it's
the
doing.
problem is, I would just be walking on the streets like this, and then out of nowhere, things that probably happened to me like 5 years or just 10 years ago.
And it could actually be activated by a smell,
Yeah.
or just
Oh my God,
a
yes.
color, anything.
Time story.
It was when I was working at I was working at a bank. I think it was 2017. And then I don't know what happened to me. I was coming back. So around Obalende, you know, there's a roundabout where you're coming from Marina.
Yeah.
And then I came out of the keke, and halfway, I don't know, I just froze. It was because I remembered something. And I just stood in the middle of the road, and people were like, Madam. I couldn't move.
Are you sure?
Yeah, and that's the result of actually, like, suppressing things instead of actually, like, processing
it.
Yeah.
And that's true.
And there's even this video that I saw, and it just made me go pow, because the girl said, I don't know how true it is, but she said something like how, like, our brains remember, it's like a trauma anniversary, like a particular period. It's just like maybe today. What's today's date? Today's date is what's today's date?
25.
Today's date is 25th of February. So imagine, like, maybe last year, 25th of February, last year, something traumatizing happened, and then your brain forgets. You don't remember, but then your body remembers, and then, like, today, imagine today being 25th of February, like, you're just, I don't know why I'm sad. I don't know why I'm, So when I saw that, I'm like,
oh,
wow.
That's
it's like having, like, maybe, let's say your birthday is coming, and if you're the kind of person that doesn't like your birthdays, and then maybe one day you wake up and it's like, maybe you've not thought about your birthday for a really long time, and then one day you wake up and you're like all sad and everything, and you're like, oh, why am I sad today? And then you remember, oh, my birthday is coming. I actually have a friend that her mom died a few days before her birthday. So, like, it's been a really long time. So sometimes she forgets. But there are times that when her birthday is coming, she starts to feel really sad. She starts to be afraid that somebody might die. And then, I don't know how, maybe her brain blocked the fact that her mom died on her birthday. So she forgets. And then maybe just one thing reminds her, and she's like, oh, wow.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So our body actually, like,
Your
records,
body
it knows what's
remembers,
happening.
There's a book that I read the other time. It's called The Body Keeps the Score.
The body keeps the score.
Yes. Your body actually, like, remembers trauma actively. And that's why, like, people who do, like, somatic therapy, where, like, you're actually, like
letting go of, like, that whole
through
shit.
your body. Because your body, like, actually hangs on to memories and, like, things that have happened to you. So for sure, I can relate to that. And it's such a wild experience because, like, you hear it in theory, but, like, until it happens,
yes. Until it happens,
and
before
it's
you
a
know.
very intense experience.
But at least, I guess being self-aware about the whole thing is actually cool. But, like, how would we heal from this, though? Because different trauma, like the story you just told about your friend losing her mom, how would she heal from that? It's going to take a lot, like, to process and, like, accept it.
Yeah.
It's such a delicate thing. But I feel like being self-aware is the first step, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
you know, knowing that you have to do the work. I think that's the first step. And then, like, she could also try to create space for herself. You know, when I say create space, I mean allow herself to feel the emotions. No, there's a reason why the body is blocking the memories. There's a reason why your body is trying to protect you. It's probably because your brain and your mental space does not want to actually, and there's a reason why you don't want to face that thing. So you have to create space for yourself to feel those emotions.
Allow it flow.
Allow it.
Because there's a battle in here. Like,
exactly. You have
you're trying to suppress, and it's just chaos.
They call it sitting with the
If you
discomfort.
allow it to flow, it might not actually feel phobia. I have that fear too because I've heard this thing a lot of time. I've not actually practiced it, but they always say allow it flow. But if you allow it flow, I don't ever not stop flowing.
Or it drowns you.
Exactly. Yes.
I honestly think that it's a very valid fear. I'm not even gonna lie to you because like it's something I'm currently working through. I mean, I went back to therapy like 2 weeks ago, and one of the things my therapist said to me was, "Why is it that I'm always running away from actually like processing the reality that something happened to me?" Like, like, because for me, I sort of like want to move on really quickly. And I think that that's one of the things a lot of us do, and it's not even our fault because, again, if something is uncomfortable, right, and it's traumatic and it's painful, you just want to be like, man, please, like, can we just
can this be over already?
Right? But I think that that's very counterintuitive to actually healing from something that traumatic. So it's like for you to even make a headway while you're acknowledging the fact that, okay, something traumatic has happened to you. You have to actually sit there and agree that the thing actually happened.
Sit with the discomfort.
And I think it also stems from the fact that, like deep down, there isn't really a safe space for you to even feel that trauma. I think that could also be a factor to why we just want it to go fast. Do you understand? Because it's like, if I don't let this thing go fast, I'll just die here. Like let's just get this over with. But when you have a safe space, you have people that are also healing with you, also on that journey and everything. Trust me, like it's going to be different. That way you might even be able to sit with the discomfort, like you said. So environment really matters.
And just to, before you move on from that, just to add to that, it's one thing for you to experience something. It's another thing for somebody else to validate that you have gone through it. Because one thing that we did in the session was her agreeing with me and validating that, oh my god, this was actually very traumatic. Right? So that's why, like, in community, you're able to get that experience where it's like, oh yeah, this happened to me. And something I also noticed that when something traumatic happens, you start to gaslight yourself. You gaslight yourself. You're like, oh my god, it's not that deep.
It's not that deep.
Oh my god,
And that's
like,
programming from what we've heard, what we've seen.
It's like, oh,
Do you understand? That's our subconscious mind coming out now. Like, it's not that deep.
When you spoke about gaslighting, it reminded me of what she said about creating or about having like a safe space. When you gaslight yourself, your head is already not a safe space for you.
If I are not safe.
Exactly, you have to create it here first.
It's just like, this is not safe for me to
You have to also be a safe space for yourself first before you now start looking outside. Because I feel like the work starts from within. It starts from you. Nobody else can help you heal.
But like,
but
when
people
you're
need
experiencing
extra help.
experiencing trauma, the thing is, you are not like, you don't feel safe. I don't think that there's ever a place where it's like, oh my god, like, because especially when you're not anticipating it happening to you. That so for example, now we're just chilling, we're having fun, and at some point something bad happens to us. Whatever thoughts or whatever thing that you already had in your head, where it's like, oh my god, you're a safe space for yourself. However, when it happens,
would react differently. Trauma response is different.
It's very different.
Really different.
And sometimes, like, you don't even feel like, oh my, your body, the way your body starts to like experience things.
It's just like something that happened when I was in secondary school. So we were it was like this.
Oh wait, do you know what's so funny? It's how all of us have talked about something traumatic, and it's interesting that whenever we start, we
laugh.
Yes.
Like, when we do, like, we're laughing at
it was
traumatic.
Yes. Because if you don't laugh, you cry.
What's wrong with
I mean,
there's nothing bad in crying. It's just it's everything.
I just like
everything. So there was something that happened in my secondary school. We're all vying for a prefectship position and everything. So manifesto where you come and talk about.
Yeah.
That was for the first time that I saw different stages of stage fright. I saw like some people were fainting, some people were bleeding, some people were
Like,
some people were having nosebleeds. Some people were crying. Some people, and I was like, like, do you understand?
Yeah.
So then, obviously,
pressure.
maybe I won't even like. Maybe in my mind, I'm like, why now? You know. But now, when I think of that, I'm like, people are different. People would react.
True.
There are people that, because of something traumatizing that they've remembered and all, like you said, you froze.
Yeah.
There are people that would cry. There are people that would pass
faint.
out. There are people that would. It's really so trauma responses is different. We need to acknowledge that. We need to acknowledge that.
Trauma.
Yeah.
Point out.
So
I feel like another important thing I got from it is surrounding yourself with people that will understand.
Community.
That
the right
validation.
community. Yeah.
That
You
validation.
need people to validate your experiences. For example, I don't know. Sorry, I've been through too much in my life. so I always have instances for everything.
Yeah.
But I think a friend of mine went out with a guy, but she was really high. And they went out for drinks and it was all right. And she did give her consent, and they went back to his house and they had sex. But halfway through, it's like, let's say the night had gone, and then the next morning, I gave my consent for you to have sex with me with the condom. So I hope this is not too much.
No, that's fine.
And it's like, I gave my consent to have sex with you with the condom, and then halfway, like in the morning, she woke up to this man having sex with her without the condom. So basically stealthing her. Now she came back and she was like, yeah, but like it's not really rape, it's not really sexual assault, it's sexual abuse. And and in that moment I realized that it was her way of coping. And also a part of her was feeling guilty about the fact that she had experienced that she was the one that put herself in that situation. And all it took was for me to say, babe, you actually just experienced a very traumatic thing. That's not funny.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually like, you need to actually one get consent, two actually like start taking like the thing. And she was like, oh, I didn't see it like that. So it just takes for somebody to say, yo, this actually happened.
Like, what do you mean you're laughing?
Yeah, like this is not funny.
This is not funny.
And it makes us like feel, I think it just makes us feel less alone. And it also like validates us in a way that, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not doing this.
Yeah. And you said this thing that you just said now, I might be wrong, but I feel like it could also stem from, this thing where a girl gets raped. What were you doing there?
Yeah.
What were you wearing?
What were you wearing? So the guilt might come from there, because it's like, let me put myself for this situation. So it's like, okay, no, don't worry, he didn't rape me. I agreed.
If I not carry my leg, go there.
Yeah, it wouldn't have happened.
That's how most of them are quiet about the situation.
Yeah, because that is so wrong.
But you're so right about like community for sure, because it's like other people validating your experiences makes it easier for you to want to seek help or want to like move from it.
And even other people, yes, even the abuser validating. It's just like, maybe you did something wrong to me and I kept it for like 20 years, and then I come back to you for closure and I said, Cam, you did this to me, and then you're like, oh, actually, I'm so sorry. You know, that goes a long way.
Helps.
That validation, the person that abused you now like agreeing, yes, I did, because you're going to, am I crazy?
And do you know what's so funny? Because when I say that, the way I think of trauma is anything that can cause me stress. Because it's like, even in friendships, right?
Yeah.
Someone does something to you and you're just there, I swear the battle is real. You're like, oh my God, am I crazy?
It's not that deep.
Am I
so next time you start asking strangers, you start asking people on the road. I've had people call me to ask me, strangers, like, you don't know me from anywhere, you're coming here like, please, like this, so this thing happened. If someone did this to you and did this,
it happens a lot.
It actually does happen a lot, and it's strangers that usually help you out the most, because you feel more safe. That they don't know you, they don't know, maybe they cannot go and tell your mom or your dad or expose you. Like, you feel more safe to be able to speak with them. I think that's also why community is very important.
Really important.
Like, it's really, really
because
important.
the reason why I'm always thinking about like community as the antidote to like a lot of things that happen to us, or even like to community in general, is how a lot of people come and be like, when you talk about trauma, and they're like, the first thing they tell you is go to therapy. And I'm like, ha ha ha.
If I could afford therapy, I would be there.
Do you understand? Do you understand how much it is to get therapy? And it takes a certain level of privilege for you to come and tell me that, oh, this is the solution to my problem. And maybe it is, but like, there's a certain level of privilege that you need to accept that you have to think that therapy is a choice. And I think that for me, that's such a like, yeah, it's nice, it's great if you have access to it. By all means, I tell everybody, like, if you can afford it, but community, being held in love, is such an enriching experience that can hold you while you process this thing.
Yes.
Until you have
Yes.
the capacity and the money to actually go and get like professional help.
And it will give you that feeling of being safe, because it's very important to feel safe, to be able to process trauma. That's like the basis. You have to feel safe.
Yeah, for sure. Because I remember the first time I experienced, like, it was, I don't want to say the thing, but like, I came back home, right? I was 21, and you know, I came back home and my father saw me and he was like, what the hell? And then, you know, if they probably, like, he tried his best, but he couldn't do so much. And it was like a neighbor that sort of like helped me process what I was going through. I didn't go to therapy for like almost 3 years. Like, the thing was so traumatic that I didn't speak for like 6 months. Like, you'd be talking to me, I'll just be like this. Just be like this. I didn't speak. The only thing I ever said to my father for 6 months was good morning, good night. Like, it was that bad. But being around that particular neighbor helped me to like process my stuff. And I didn't go to therapy until I was like 25. Right? But if you can't afford therapy, is your life supposed to stop?
Exactly.
Because something traumatic happened to you. So that for me is like community.
Yeah, because everyone needs therapy.
So now if
we all cannot afford therapy, does that mean we die? Are we going to die?
Your life.
You have to keep living. You have to keep
You need it, because the traumatic thing has happened. But your life is also happening alongside it, and is your life supposed to stop?
Everybody's moving on. You can't just stay.
Girl.
True.
But yeah.
Something that you mentioned about confronting your trauma and how it helps like solve everything like 100%. But like, I don't think everybody has that courage to confront it.
Not every, not even courage, not even the opportunity.
Yeah.
To even, because you're abuser, where do you want to find them? How many people now, like, do you like the person that has abused you, that has traumatized you, the opportunity needs to even come for you to even be in close proximity with that person.
Even if the opportunity comes, will you be able to stand in front of them?
Even that's feeling that you're the one that is not
Because
situations like
capacity
that.
is so, like, you don't. I feel like when people think about trauma, it's like you don't even understand
Like,
what's going on.
Right.
Because the way you think you are going to react when the thing is in front of you, I promise you cannot do anything.
Just
You freeze.
Actually,
you don't even want to say.
actually.
And sometimes it's not always like a person that traumatizes you.
Yeah.
For example, I'll tell you for free that Nigeria has traumatized
Oh,
this country. Like,
every day in distress.
it's an ongoing experience. It is. It's a fucking ongoing experience. I'm being traumatized
Nigeria
every
alone is
day.
the definition of trauma.
Every
Just
day of
take
my
it-
life.
take
But
it
like,
every
who
day.
am I going to hold responsible for what's happening to me? The politicians? No.
Are you going to say you will not leave because of
exactly.
it? You
It's
have
like,
to.
yeah, sometimes it's not even a person. It's a thing. Sometimes it can be something as simple as you're going on the road and, like, for example, I think you told us a story earlier. For example, a car hits you and the person ran away. What will you do?
You lie down on the floor. I say you're not moving on.
You on the Anagbero calls you a chef. For me, that's a distressing situation.
Oh my
I don't
god.
like that thing.
When I was younger, that thing used to.
Every time, like, you're being exposed.
Then they'll be grabbing
Touch
you.
Why? Why are you touching me?
Fine girl.
My color.
Like, I don't understand.
My color.
I genuinely think that, like, it's also very easy when we talk about trauma for us to feel very helpless. But honestly, that's not the point, you know. It's sad, but we need to find a way to keep moving.
I mean, I have to acknowledge it.
Really,
that's the first step, acknowledging it.
Because even speaking, I mentioned it earlier, like I wasn't really feeling, my best, but just spending the little time I have with you guys, like I feel so much better. Like just being able to talk, even just saying, I don't feel good. Just saying it, speak it out, like let everyone hear. The fact that someone else is listening to you, that validation, that attention, it goes a long way.
My mom used to tell me something that if you need help, don't drown, shout. If something's beating you, so shout. Help my life. Like don't drown. Don't drown in your sorrow. Don't drown in your trauma. Say something.
I think you asked the question like how do you navigate trauma? Yeah, and I think that has been like one of the things that have been pivotal for me. See, let me tell you, everybody will go into their problem. The only difference is that me, I'm talking about my own.
Right.
I'm sorry.
And you can see what it's doing for you.
Professional professional opinion haver. It's like, yo, this person slapped me the other day. I was like, I'm not telling you because I need you to solve my problem. I'm telling you because
you need to release it.
I need a channel.
Yeah.
And it's been very pivotal for me because like people are like, you're always talking about.
Now you know what they do you. Now you know how they help you.
Yeah. No, I'm a professional yapper. I just think, see, let me tell you, the other day, one doctor did something.
I will talk.
You be here. That's the difference between me and half of the Nigerians in this country. It's like, yo, you are going through your own shit. Like, that quote is like, people don't look at what they're going through. That's fine, but I will tell you. I don't be looking like it, but you're going to
I don't care.
I'm going to tell you.
Do you know that some people are even traumatized from the idea of talking? Like some people have had traumatizing experiences whereby they come to meet you to confide in you about a traumatic experience, and that person
not add on top of it.
That is double combo, Abi. Knock down, like.
That still goes back to community, finding the right community, not just any community, the right community.
Someone push you down like that, it shouldn't like weigh you down because that's just the right person to talk to at that right time.
But it's traumatizing. That's true. It's traumatizing when you go, you try to confide in somebody because at that point, that person can even think of suicide because it would be like, talk. Okay, now I've spoken and then
this person is now
so what do I do?
It's very similar to what people who have endured domestic abuse experience. Where it's like you, for example, just a random is, say for example, you are a parent and your daughter is married to someone who beats them, rapes them, disenfranchises them financially, and then they come to you and your response is go back.
That's your family. It's like you have to do it.
It is. You're right about it being like you. If the small strengths that you used to come and talk,
you just be like, nah.
You just be very exhausted, and it's like, but yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. It also goes back to like being discerning about like where you go to talk about
who you speak to.
That's why people always say go to therapy because therapists are equipped to handle that with like, a certain level of privacy.
Because speaking personally, I feel like that's something I had to go through like a whole lot. Like talking to people that don't really get it. It can be crazy because it's like at some point I'll just be like, what's the point? You don't get it. That's why when I see someone that gets it, I am not I will hold you like this. You're not going anywhere because to find the people that get it, that emotionally intelligent, to even acknowledge, like to validate, that's really a lot. But imagine me telling you, I was raped, and then you're like, it's not
go and sleep, you'll be fine.
No.
Hi Queens, peace and blessings to you. I'm Noella and I'm so excited and enthusiastic that you guys joined the Pretty Babes community. We have a lot in store for everyone. There's a lot of benefits that everyone would share in. There's going to be a lot of openness in our agenda, in what we plan to achieve, and what we plan to share with, the Pretty Babes.
Pretty Babes Talk.
So people can have like a different perspective on how they can actually come about. We've really emphasized on community, but then someone hearing about like yoga, even exercises, going to the gym, these things, meditation.
You have to point out that therapy is very important if you can afford it, but there are other ways you can try.
Yes. So apart from therapy, which is very, very, very much needed and very, very, if you can afford therapy, my dear,
Do it.
Do it. Take it.
Yeah.
Dive in it.
No kidding.
No.
Seriously.
Apart from therapy and also community, that safe space, which is also important. What other ways do you think we can try our best? Because this thing, we're trying our best now. We're trying to survive. We're trying to live through all these things now. What other way do you think we can also try to get over it?
Well, for me, from my own experience, I believe yoga is a very, very good tool. You should try it. You get. I wouldn't advise you to get out of the gym. I mean, you know why you're in the gym, but try yoga. I mean, okay, before I go there, I need to state this fact. It's a fact. So, trauma could, from what we've been saying, we're talking about how trauma is like something that has happened to you in the past, like an experience that you've actually experienced. But I also need to also point out that trauma could also come from your DNA. Like, it doesn't have to be something you have actually experienced. There's this scientific fact. I don't have the topic or the heading now, but like, there's this thing where they said your DNA, some of the emotions you feel, some of the things that come to you subconsciously are from your grandma, not your mom, your grandma. The thing about like women is that, why they say that we're like the bridge between the physical world and the spiritual world is that, before you were born, before your mom was born, you were already inside her. While your grandma was pregnant with your mom, you were an egg existing inside your mom. So everything your grandma was experiencing is actually written in your DNA. Or your grandma's trauma, everything that's happened, or everything is in your DNA. So sometimes if you want to actually like, if there are things that you feel like, let's say there's something you really love and you don't know where that came from, you don't know why you love this thing, or there's something you really hate and you cannot explain how you hate it, go and find out about your grandma, find out how she grew up, find out everything about her. It could be
personality, you hear?
Yes, personality traits especially.
That kind of thing,
Yeah, so why I mentioned this is because yoga deals with like healing trauma in the body, in the physical body. I mean, yoga also deals with your mental space and your spiritual space, but mostly it is focused on healing the body. The thing about trauma is that I wouldn't say it's in your head, but most times if you notice, you are in your head when you're experiencing that. You are up there. So yoga will help you ground yourself to this body. And as much as we know that we are spiritual beings, we are also physical beings. I mean, if you lose this body, you're not here. Sure, you get. So you have to also regulate your nervous system. That is like the first step to like regulating trauma. You have to regulate your nervous. You have to make your body a safe space for yourself, and that's how yoga comes in. Yoga will help you feel connected. Yoga will help you release. Like there are certain poses that will actually like hit energy points in your body and help you release things that you've stored. My God. And meditating too. I always cry when I meditate every single time. Like I don't even control it, but like tears just come out of my eyes, and it usually gets to the point where I'm relaxed, because if I start, of course, I might not be relaxed immediately, but how I know that I've relaxed into meditation is when tears start coming out of my eyes. So that's like literally, and tears is like your body releasing pain in physical form. So like you release through yoga, through meditation, through mindfulness, through just connecting with your body. That's like please try yoga. Your body will thank you. I promise you, your body will thank you, and you will be very happy.
That's something we can also do.
Just watch it
without breaking the bank.
Without breaking the bank, like you could literally go on Pinterest and just get poses. It's as simple as that. It's there. Go on YouTube. But don't do too much. There are some people that will tell you to hang your leg like this. Like, it's as simple as just...
Don't do past yourself.
It's as simple as lying on the ground. Like, you know, there's this child pose. Just check child pose. There's a way you just sit down and just relax. Just like relax your body. Like, it's as simple. You don't have to take your leg to the back of your head or fly. You understand?
I think
it's as
have
simple
that
as
perception
relaxing.
about yoga. I used to have that perception before.
Same.
Where yoga, you have to be
I feel like
flexible.
it's
You have to
something
do
more
this. So you have
spiritual
your
than
leg will be here. You know, but there's
And also speaking about yoga, I have to point out, if you actually want to try yoga, judging like from what we've spoken, just try yoga that will help you with your hips, because you know trauma is stored in your roots.
For
You
women,
understand?
yeah.
Yeah, especially
I
for
don't know this
women.
for women.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, yoga is trauma is stored in your roots. So when
Yeah.
you do poses that help you open your hips up, you actually release that energy. You know we are electromagnetic, right?
Yeah.
You actually release that energy. It's as simple as that.
I found this woman on TikTok that used to do yoga for like fat women.
Yeah.
But mostly what she does is like actual somatic therapy. Where it's like hip openers. One day I don't know what I was there. I tried one of the poses. The cry that I cried.
God, and you will not know why you're crying.
experience this,
You will just feel the need to
You will
release.
cry. And it's as simple as just like opening your leg. I said sorry.
There's a whole lot of
No,
stuff.
it is.
I'm
And
serious.
And I don't know if
social,
you guys
yeah.
can relate with this, but I feel like trauma, stress, whatever, like it has something to do with like the kind of or the amount of cramps that you have during your period. I think there was this time that I was really going through a lot. Like, you know, I had a lot of, you know, like emotional stress that I was going through.
Yeah.
And then my period came, and then it was I was almost dying. But it was just for that particular period, because after my period I got over it, you know, and then the next period it wasn't that.
Just normal.
So I don't know, you know, I could be wrong.
You're not wrong. You know, so you know what you just mentioned now about how your period, your cramps could be connected to like you. It's actually true, because trauma is stored in your body. Physically, it's actually written in your body. So there are some certain kind of feelings that you might have had, like anger. If you're someone that grew up like holding anger so much, it could actually cause ulcer. Like it would cause a wound in this place, inside that peptic ulcer. Yes.
Even bloating, gastrointestinal,
Yes.
you know, issues,
Yes.
your
This
gut.
must be me when I was younger.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because I always say this:
I
the
always
gut
hold
is
in
connected to the mind.
It is.
It
It
is.
is. It is. When you say you're feeling butterflies, my guy, it's your gut. It's your gut. There's no butterflies in your stomach. It's your gut. It's telling you something. So listen. You have to listen.
I think that's why maybe it might be safe to just add that another way to, you know, help with trauma is also like your diet.
Yes.
Yeah, that could
Because you know that's you also working on your guts,
body.
and the gut is connected to the mind, so
Yes.
that helps to, you know.
So, Kem, do you have anything to add?
Kem has something to say.
She has a lot to say.
My own is when you're trying to move or cope with trauma, like after a traumatic event has happened to you and you're trying to move on from it. One of the things that I know for sure doesn't help is if you start abusing substances. And I know that it feels
Very
like
important.
it feels like the easiest thing to do.
The first thing I
to numb
in Nigeria.
yourself.
To go and drink.
Alcohol,
You see this thing where
vices,
Sex and
you see this thing where men associate alcohol drinking with work. See, it's that stress they're trying to go and release with alcohol. Oh. After work, they say they want to go and watch ball. They want to go and drink. They are trying
It's
to
just adding
suppress
that.
it.
I think that just like doing drugs recreationally or using substances to actually like cope does more harm than good.
It does.
Not even just like your health. It's just you won't have the avenue to actually like process what you're supposed to process. All you're doing is just like suppressing it until a time when you know again, the body has a limit. If you don't stop, your body will stop for you.
True.
Yeah.
So
True.
you need to.
Body no be
I
firewood.
think that
Exactly.
abusing
Alright.
substances.
No.
Don't do it.
Don't
I mean,
do
a
it.
drink,
Don't
a drink
do it.
every now and then.
Drop
is
the
fine,
alcohol.
but,
Drop
like,
it.
If you're
you
doing it for the
know,
sole
if
purpose
you are
of running
doing it for
away,
the sole
you
purpose
know.
of like
Yes.
running away from your issues or running away from
Drop
don't do
it.
that.
you know,
That's terrible.
you're just going to prolong your healing time. And for me, that's like, and the reason why this is very personal to me is for the longest time, I was using alcohol to cope. I used to drink a lot, and it took me actually like having alcohol poisoning
Ooh.
to realize that
You don't reach.
this is not the way. You know,
It's not the way.
like it's fine temporarily, and it's like, oh my
Like you
God,
said,
like,
if you don't stop, your body will
your
stop for
body
you.
stop for
Yeah.
you. I was actually like throwing up blood. It was
Wow.
bad.
that's
It was
bad.
really bad. I remember waking up on that day. I was like, girl, you know, this is not the life we chose, okay? So yeah, I think that's something I'm very passionate about, because even now, when I go out to parties and I see like I can tell when I'm starting to like fall back into those habits where it's like, let's say for example, it's not even like a traumatic event. It's just something is happening in my life that is very difficult for me to process at the moment, and I see myself like reaching for like alcohol or trying to smoke more. I know that you're doing too much.
Like,
you
girl,
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
That's
like
a
stop
self-awareness
and then process
really
what
helps.
was
Like, what
actually
exactly is
going on.
wrong?
And
Yeah.
like she said, how like if you're able to move your body, it's easier for you to actually like process your emotions.
As simple as dancing. It's as simple
Yeah.
as
I tried
dancing.
that. I love dancing in
My
my
God.
Even hip movements.
Just
Just
twerk.
twerk.
Oh my
It
God.
helps a lot.
Just true.
Yeah.
My
It
God.
helps.
Because you're releasing the things in your hips when you twerk.
It feels so good.
Yeah.
So
And
just
also one thing, one thing is also music frequencies.
Frequency, yes.
High frequencies, like
Yeah.
it really helps, especially when you're sleeping, because you know, like when you're sleeping, like the state of mind you're at and everything, like
True.
you can it's like a state
Your mind
of,
is bare.
that state of mind, you know, you can program
Yes.
your mind. Your subconscious is awake, just like what the lobe at the
yes,
back. You know,
yes.
that's why even people, because when I used to hear like people that are in coma, like
They'll use sound.
They
they
hear.
hear what is happening.
Yeah.
So even when you're not really awake and all, like
You're
the
awake.
mind, the lobe, what's the
Occipital lobe.
occipital lobe, exactly. Your subconscious mind is recording everything,
Everything.
basically. So when you're listening to affirmations, you're listening to high frequencies. It helps. It's healing. So even while you're asleep, you even have the privilege to even, you know, also heal your body. Like the frequency is going to go down your body and everything.
Yeah.
So
I also
that
have
also
to add
helps.
to that. It's not also when you're asleep. You know, the thing about studying the brain and how it works is that you will understand the different times that your brain is very fertile. Like the times where it's very good to program your mind. You know, there are different waves that our brain is at. When you're
Yeah.
sleeping,
Yeah.
when you just wake up, that first 10 minutes when you're awake, and then when you now become really awake.
Yeah.
So that period when you're sleeping, the brain, that's when it's fertile to like program your mind. And when you first wake up. That's why sometimes do you think this thing where they say when you first wake up, pray immediately before you do another thing, you think it's not coincidence.
Yeah.
At that stage where you first, there's this wavelength that your brain is
Like,
at.
tap into
That,
some
yes, you
spiritual-
can tap into the
Yeah.
spiritual realm and like reprogram yourself. So try
You
it.
speak into your day.
Exactly.
I'm powerful, I'm worthy, I'm
My day,
abundant.
Yes,
You know, you say that.
that's the best time to
That's
say
beautiful.
affirmations. When you first wake up, the first thing that comes out of your mouth, like that first 5-10 minutes.
I love that. I'll put that exercise.
And before you sleep too, because when you're falling asleep, your brain also enters that wave too.
Yeah.
So it's also good at that point too.
Yeah, so it helps. That helps, you know. And it really helps because at least in contradiction to when people are depressed, like that's when they listen to sad music. So it's like, I'm like, it's adding to, you know, the way you feel already, but
And
people just feel like, oh, it doesn't help. I don't see how it helps in any way.
It does not help.
It doesn't help in any way.
It does not help. And you know, sound is like the basis of our being. The fact that we're actually alive, like the fact that we are, it's like sound, like at the base of everything is sound. Like our breath, the fact that you can speak. Your breath is connected to the sound that comes from your mouth.
The fact that you can speak and someone can even listen.
That is sound. So at the base of everything is sound. So the music you listen to is very, very important. Don't listen to depressive music, I beg you, please. You're just making things worse for yourself. Listen to uplifting music. Listen to frequencies. Like high, you understand? Like listen to good music. The ones that
even
make
the lyrics, you know. Because the occipital lobe, like you said, it records everything. If you're always listening to songs like that, there's no way, you can't tell me that when you're in a fix or something, that thought will not come. Even though you're strong-willed enough to push it
even
away.
if it comes as a joke.
That's all you know. That's all, like, do you understand? That's what you have in your head. So it will come into play. Do you understand? But then, like, when you're listening to high vibrations, you're vibrating high. You're being around people that, you know, like, you'll be able to just grow basically, you know. So we have to be really careful of the songs.
We have to be careful what we consume.
Yes.
Everything you consume, everything you
see,
see, the things you hear, the things you eat, everything.
Yeah.
The energy you consume, the people you stay around. You know, they say if you want to know who you are, check the first 5 people around you, like your closest 5, the closest people.
Oh, people have up to 5 close friends.
Oh, 3, but if it's not up to 5, just check. That would tell you like how you're vibrating, like your energy at that particular point in time.
So these are things you can do because
so many things.
You just have to try, you have to live, you have to survive. So, you know, these are things you can do without breaking your bank.
If you can't afford therapy.
Well, if you can, please do it.
Go to therapy if you can.
Yeah.
Do it.
In Africana community, it's a tradition to share. And today we have a few proverbs for you.
Like the rising sun, she brings warmth and light to all who surround her.
That's
actually so beautiful.
Yeah. She who walks with grace leaves a trail of wisdom in her steps. Bam.
Nice. I really love it. I do.
The goal is to you know, exhume grace and some other good stuff as a woman. So yeah. That's lovely.
Like the rising sun. Oh, I'm taking that again. The river may bend, but its course remains unchanged. A black woman's determination. Oh, that's in line for me, like motivation. Like, no matter how things they bend for your life, like you're a black woman, you're strong. You can push through.
That's actually very beautiful.
Yeah.
Alright. She wears her crown not as a burden, but a symbol of her heritage and power.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to say anything about this. I think it says everything.
Yeah, it does.
The Pretty Babes Talk.